Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you a hard truth that might sting a little. Your comfort zone, that cozy, predictable place you love so much, is slowly killing your potential. You see, we're creatures of habit. We like the familiar. We like routines. We like safety. But growth never happens in a safe place. Growth happens where it's uncomfortable. Growth happens when you're doing things you're not used to, when you're learning something new, when you're scared and doing it anyway. Your potential doesn't live in that warm bed you keep hitting snooze in. It doesn't sit behind the same desk doing the same thing day in and day out. Your potential lives just beyond discomfort. That's where the magic happens. You weren't designed to merely survive. You were built to thrive, to lead, to stretch. And the comfort zone? It's a liar. It whispers, stay here, you're safe. But what it doesn't tell you is that while you're safe, you're also stuck. Stuck in mediocrity, stuck in missed opportunities, stuck in fear disguised as stability. You know what the real risk is? The real risk is never taking any, because someday you're going to look back, not at the things you did, but at the things you didn't do. And that regret, that's the price the comfort zone charges you. So today I challenge you, step out, speak up, try something new, fail fast and learn faster. The future is not promised, but the present is here. And it's waiting for the bold, not the comfortable. Comfort is a slow killer. It doesn't shout. It whispers. It doesn't storm in and wreck your life in a day. It gently rocks you to sleep over the course of years. It feels good, that comfort. It wraps around you like a warm blanket, tells you everything's fine, that you've earned a break, that maybe tomorrow you'll try a little harder, and so you stop stretching. You stop reaching. You stop risking. The problem with comfort is that it's deceptive. It looks like peace, but underneath it's erosion. Little by little, it wears away your edge, your hunger, your discipline. Days become weeks, weeks become months, and one day you wake up wondering where all the fire went when it left you. It didn't. You let it go. Comfort makes promises it doesn't keep. It promises security, but it delivers stagnation. It promises ease, but it costs you growth. And while you're busy enjoying the illusion of peace, life is moving on, the opportunities are passing, the skills are fading. The momentum you once had is gone, not because of a catastrophe, but because you got comfortable. You don't need a dramatic collapse to lose your potential. All it takes is one decision to settle, one day of putting it off, one moment of saying, I'm good enough. And before long, good enough becomes your ceiling. Not because you weren't capable of more, but because comfort convinced you to stay put. Comfort is the enemy dressed as a friend. Don't fall for it. Stretch, reach, strain a little. It's supposed to feel uncomfortable. That's how you know you're alive. Discomfort is the birthplace of growth. If you want to achieve anything significant in life, if you want to reach your true potential, you've got to be willing to step out of your comfort zone. Now, let's be clear about something. Growth does not come from the easy road. It doesn't come from the well-worn path where everything is familiar and predictable. No, growth comes when you push yourself, when you face challenges head on, when you decide that you're going to do something that feels just a little bit beyond your current abilities. Think about it. What happens when you lift weights? You create small tears in your muscles. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good in the moment. But what follows that discomfort? Strength. The muscle rebuilds itself stronger than before. The same applies to your personal development. You're not going to grow unless you're willing to stretch beyond where you are now. You can't get to the next level if you keep playing it safe. If you're always looking for comfort, you're going to miss out on the opportunities that could change your life. I've seen it over and over again. People get comfortable in their little routines, their familiar surroundings. They tell themselves that everything is fine, that they're happy, that they've made it. But deep down, there's a nagging feeling, a sense that there's more to life, more they could achieve, more they could become. That feeling doesn't come from comfort. It comes from an awareness that growth requires something more, something bigger than what you've settled for. When you embrace discomfort, you unlock your true potential. That's when the magic happens. It's when you step into the unknown, take risks, make mistakes, learn and grow. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but that's exactly why it's worth it. Growth is never easy. If it were, everyone would do it. But not everyone is willing to endure the discomfort it takes to get there. And that's what separates the achievers from the dreamers. Discomfort is not something to fear. It's something to welcome. It's the very thing that sets you apart from everyone else who chooses to stay comfortable. It's the challenge that refines you, the pressure that molds you, the discomfort that strengthens you. So, if you're serious about reaching your full potential, if you're serious about becoming the person you were meant to be, stop looking for shortcuts and stop avoiding discomfort. Step into it, embrace it, and let it work its magic on you. It's only by doing this that you'll unlock the strength, courage, and greatness that's waiting just on the other side of your comfort zone. What you tolerate, you endorse. Let me say that again. What you tolerate, you endorse. In life, there's a dangerous tendency to put up with things that aren't right, to make excuses for situations that aren't serving us. We might say, well, it's not perfect, but it's good enough. Or it could be worse, so I'll just deal with it. Here's the truth. When you tolerate mediocrity, when you tolerate poor habits, when you tolerate less than your best, you are actively giving your permission to stay in that place. You're endorsing it. You're saying this is acceptable. And by doing so, you're reinforcing that this is the standard you've set for yourself. Look, every decision you make, consciously or unconsciously, sends a message to the world and, more importantly, to yourself. When you allow something to stay in your life that doesn't contribute to your growth, you're telling the universe, this is the level I'm willing to accept. Whether it's a job that doesn't fulfill you, a relationship that doesn't nurture you, or habits that are holding you back, while tolerating it, you're accepting it. Now, I want you to think about that for a moment. Think about the areas of your life where you're settling. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your career. Maybe it's the people around you. How many things are you allowing that aren't aligned with your best self? How many times have you let something slide, told yourself it's fine when deep down you know it isn't? The truth is, every time you accept something that doesn't serve your higher purpose, you're teaching yourself to settle for less. The world will give you exactly what you tolerate. You think you're just making small compromises, but those small compromises add up over time. They create a life that's far beneath what you're capable of. If you want more out of life, if you want to reach higher, if you want to achieve the kind of success that most only dream of, then you have to start rejecting the things that are holding you back. This isn't about being perfect. It's about setting a standard for your life and refusing to accept anything less. You've got to stop tolerating negativity. You've got to stop tolerating bad habits, poor thinking, and relationships that drain you. You've got to stop tolerating excuses. When you choose to no longer tolerate the things that are keeping you stuck, you give yourself permission to rise. You endorse the new standard you've set for yourself, the standard that demands growth, excellence, and a commitment to becoming the best version of who you're capable of being. Remember, what you tolerate becomes your life. If you want a life of purpose, fulfillment, and success, it starts by refusing to tolerate anything that doesn't align with that vision. When you stop tolerating mediocrity, you'll start endorsing greatness. And it's in that endorsement that your true potential will be realized. Routine breeds rust. It's the silent killer of progress. Now, don't misunderstand me. Routine has its place. It's necessary for building discipline, creating structure, and establishing some level of consistency. But when you settle into a routine without growth, without challenge, and without purpose, something insidious begins to happen. You start to rust. You begin to lose your edge, your fire, and your enthusiasm. You see, routine without change is like a machine left sitting in the garage, never used. It doesn't get better with time, it gets worse. It collects dust, it loses its efficiency, it becomes obsolete. And the same thing happens to you when you rely too much on the same old habits and the same old patterns. Many become comfortable patterns, but comfort is the enemy of progress. You're doing the same things every single day in the same way with no new challenges or opportunities to push your limits, then you're not growing. You're simply maintaining. And while maintaining might keep you afloat, it will never take you to the next level. It's the difference between moving forward and just going through the motions. You can't expect extraordinary results from ordinary actions. If you want to see something different in your life, you have to do something different. You have to shake up your routine. Take risks. Try new things. Challenge your assumptions. Even small changes can make a huge impact. When you start to introduce new experiences into your life, you awaken your creativity, sharpen your mind, and reignite your passion. The person who grows the most is the one who refuses to become stagnant. They're constantly looking for ways to improve, to learn, to stretch beyond what they thought was possible. It's easy to fall into the trap of routine, to convince yourself that you're too busy, too tired, or too comfortable to make a change. But the real cost of staying stuck is far greater than the discomfort of trying something new. You were not made to live a life of mediocrity, to drift through the same day over and over again, doing the same things with the same results. You were made to create, to innovate, to grow. And to do that, you have to step outside your routine. You have to push yourself to experience life in new ways. You have to welcome the discomfort of growth, because that discomfort is what keeps the rust from settling in. You see, the world doesn't stand still. Life is moving at a fast pace, and if you're not moving with it, you're falling behind. You have to adapt, evolve, and expand. And the moment you get too comfortable with routine is the moment you start to lose your edge upon it. So I encourage you to shake things up, break free from the chains of routine, stretch yourself, try something new, even if it's uncomfortable. The more you challenge yourself, the more you grow. The more you grow, the more life opens up to you. Keep moving forward, keep learning, and keep evolving. And never, ever let routine be the thing that dulls your shine. Fear is a powerful force. It's sneaky, cunning, and it wears many disguises. One of its favorite masks is logic. You've probably encountered this version of fear in your own life. It comes to you dressed in rational thoughts, reasonable concerns, and practical excuses. It whispers, "Tit's not the right time," or "Pain should wait until you're more prepared." And because it sounds so logical, so sensible, so responsible, you listen to it. You think it's helping you make wise decisions, but here's the truth. Fear, disguised as logic, is keeping you small. Let's be clear about something. There's a difference between genuine caution and fear. Caution comes from wisdom and experience. It's the understanding that certain risks need to be weighed carefully, that certain steps require preparation. But fear masquerading as logic, that's something entirely different. It's the voice that tells you to wait just a little longer, that your idea isn't good enough yet, or that someone else is already doing it better. It convinces you that your dreams are too big and that you're not quite ready. The danger is that fear wrapped in logic feels responsible. It feels right. It feels like you're being practical, making wise decisions, and avoiding unnecessary risks. But here's the catch. By waiting for the perfect moment, by holding yourself back, by letting fear make your decisions, you're giving up your future. You're giving up the chance to grow, to succeed, to experience all that life has to offer. Every time you let fear disguised as logic control you, you delay your progress, and in many cases, you forfeit it altogether. Think about how many opportunities you've passed up simply because you thought, "I'll wait until everything is perfect," or "I'll wait until I have everything figured out." These thoughts sound logical, don't they? But in reality, they're just fear keeping you in your comfort zone. Fear loves certainty. It loves predictability. It loves a life where nothing changes, where nothing is risky. But a life without risk is a life without growth. You don't get stronger by avoiding challenges. You don't become successful by staying in your safe little bubble. And you certainly don't unlock your full potential by playing it safe. You have to step out. You have to be willing to face the unknown, to make decisions when the answers aren't clear, and to take action when there's no guarantee of success. You don't have to have everything figured out to start. You just have to start. Fear disguised as logic tells you that you're not ready, but that's the lie it wants you to believe, when you will never feel ready in the way you think you should. If you wait for perfection, you'll wait forever. The reality is you'll never have all the answers and you'll never have all the resources, but you have something more powerful than all of that, the courage to start. So next time you hear that logical voice in your head telling you to wait, to hold off, or to stay in your safe place, recognize it for what it is, fear. It's not being practical, it's keeping you small. You need to step up, step out, and make the leap. You're not going to find success by thinking about it endlessly. You're going to find success by doing. And when you do, you'll discover that what you thought was fear was actually your greatest opportunity to grow. Your potential requires pressure. I know it doesn't feel good when you're in the midst of it. Pressure can be uncomfortable. It can feel like everything is weighing down on you, like the odds are stacked against you, like you're not sure you have what it takes to handle what's in front of you. But here's the thing. Pressure is not your enemy, definite. It's your ally. It's the very thing that can transform you into the person you need to be to achieve your highest goals. Think about diamonds for a moment. They don't come out of the earth shiny and beautiful. They start as rough, unpolished stones. It takes intense pressure, time, and heat for them to transform into what we see as something valuable. Pressure is what makes them strong, what gives them that incredible shine. The same is true for you. You see, if you want to grow, if you want to stretch, if you want to become someone capable of achieving extraordinary things, you need to face pressure. You need to be challenged. You need to step into situations that test your limits, that demand more from you than you thought you could give. Without pressure, you'll never expand. You'll never know what you're truly capable of. Now, that's not to say that pressure is always comfortable. It's not. It can be downright painful. But that's exactly what makes it so important. It's easy to stay where it's comfortable. It's easy to avoid the discomfort, to play it safe, to avoid pushing yourself too hard. But if you do that, you're robbing yourself of growth. You're robbing yourself of the opportunity to become more than you've ever been before. When life presses against you, when things get tough, it's actually giving you a gift. It's forcing you to rise, to find strength you didn't know you had, to become a better version of yourself. Pressure helps you discover new skills, new capabilities, and a level of resilience that you never knew existed. It forces you to confront your weaknesses and turn them into strengths. It challenges your beliefs, your mindset, and your limits. Without pressure, you stay stagnant, never pushing past what's comfortable, never reaching your true potential. Think about anyone who has achieved great things. Did they get there by avoiding pressure? No. They embraced it. They faced the challenges head on. They made the tough decisions. They took the hard road. And because of that, they became something more than what they were when they started. Pressure isn't something to fear. It's something to embrace, because it's only through that pressure that we learn what we're truly capable of. So the next time life applies pressure, the next time you face a challenge or a setback, don't shrink away from it. Don't run from it. Instead, step into it. Recognize that this is the moment that can take you to the next level. This is the moment that will force you to grow, to evolve, to become the person you need to be, to fulfill your potential. Pressure is a natural part of the process. Without it, you'd never have the opportunity to become the diamond you were meant to be. Embrace the pressure, use it, and let it shape you into someone who is capable of achieving more than you ever imagined. Excuses love comfort. In fact, they thrive in it. You see, when you're comfortable, it's easy to come up with reasons not to move forward, not to take action, not to change. Excuses are like little voices that whisper in your ear, telling you, it's okay to stay where you are, you deserve this comfort, you've worked hard enough, don't rock the boat. The problem is, every time you give in to those excuses, you give away your chance at growth. Is the breeding ground for excuses, because when you're in your comfort zone, you don't feel the urgency to act. You don't feel the need to push yourself to the next level. You become complacent. And complacency is where mediocrity sets in. When things are easy, when everything is stable, your mind starts to come up with all kinds of justifications for why you shouldn't take risks, why you shouldn't stretch yourself, why it's better to stay where it's safe. But here's the truth. St. Comfort is the enemy of progress. Comfort doesn't push you to evolve. It holds you back, convinces you that things are just fine the way they are, that you don't need to try harder or reach higher. Excuses feed into that lie. They tell you it's okay to settle, to stay stuck, to avoid the discomfort of growth. They give you the illusion that by staying where you are, you're being practical, responsible, or smart. But nothing extraordinary ever happens in the comfort zone. Every breakthrough, every success, every moment of true progress happens when you step outside of it, when you challenge yourself to go beyond what feels safe, to go after what scares you, to push through the pain of growth. And the funny thing is, the more you make excuses, the more you allow yourself to stay comfortable, the harder it becomes to break free. Those excuses start to feel like truths. They start to control you. You'll find yourself telling yourself, I'm too busy, I'm too tired, or I'll do it tomorrow, but what you don't realize is that every time you delay, you're reinforcing the habit of settling. You're reinforcing the comfort that's holding you back. Excuses are not your friends. They are traps that keep you from becoming the person you're meant to be. The more you let them in, the harder it becomes to break free. But the good news is, you have the power to stop making excuses. You have the ability to confront your fears, to face the discomfort, and to take action. Success doesn't come from staying where it's comfortable. It comes from deciding that you're no longer willing to settle for less than what you're capable of. It comes from saying, and I refuse to make excuses. I'm going to do what needs to be done, even if it's hard, even if it's uncomfortable, because I know that's where the growth happens. The next time you feel the pull of comfort, the next time an excuse tries to slip into your mind, remember this: inexcuses may love comfort, but growth loves discomfort. If you want to unlock your true potential, you have to stop making excuses, get uncomfortable, and start taking action. When you do that, you'll break free from the cycle of stagnation, and you'll step into the life you were truly meant to live. Progress requires a price. You can't get ahead in life without paying for it. Nothing of value comes for free. If you want to see growth, if you want to see success, if you want to become the person you're capable of being, you've got to be willing to give something up. You've got to make sacrifices, put in the work, and step out of your comfort zone. Progress doesn't just happen by chance. It happens because you're willing to pay the price. Now, the price is different for everyone. For some, it's time. You may have to give up hours of your day that you once spent relaxing, watching TV, or doing things that don't contribute to your goals. You might need to sacrifice your weekends, your evenings, your free time in order to invest in learning, working, or improving your skills. For others, it's money. You might need to invest in education, in tools, in courses, in resources that help you get to the next level. There's a cost involved. And that cost requires action, energy, and often discomfort. But here's the thing. The price of progress is never easy to brighten, and it often involves giving up things that feel good in the moment. It's not always convenient. In fact, it rarely is. But if you're willing to pay the price, if you're willing to put in the time, energy, and sometimes the sacrifice, that's when progress starts to happen. Look at anyone who's achieved success. They didn't get there by wishing for it. They didn't get there by taking shortcuts or hoping for the best. They got there by paying the price. They worked when others rested. They sacrificed when others partied. They learned when others played. They chose to do what was necessary, not what was easy. The price of progress might involve overcoming your own doubts and fears. It might require facing failure head on and picking yourself up again when things don't go as planned. It's the courage to step forward even when the path isn't clear, and the resilience to keep going even when the going gets tough. Progress is a journey that tests your commitment, your discipline, and your perseverance. If you're not willing to pay the price, if you're not willing to endure the challenges, then you're not going to experience the growth you're capable of. The truth is, most people aren't willing to pay the price. They want the rewards without the sacrifice. They want the results without the effort. But that's not how it works. The price for progress is steep, but the rewards are even greater. Every sacrifice, every hour spent working on your goals, every moment of discomfort, all adds up to something extraordinary. When you look back, you'll see that those sacrifices weren't really sacrifices at all. They were investments in your future. If you want to see progress, if you want to achieve the kind of success that most people only dream of, you've got to be willing to give up something now for something greater later. The price of progress is a price you must pay if you want to reach your true potential. So ask yourself, are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to give up comfort, to sacrifice the easy road, to put in the work? Because if you are, that's when the magic happens. That's when you start to see the changes, the growth, and the success you've been striving for. Success lives in unfamiliar territory. It's easy to get comfortable in what you know, to settle into routines that feel safe and predictable. But here's the reality. Success is never found in the comfort zone. If you want to achieve anything extraordinary, if you want to see results that go beyond the ordinary, you've got to step into the unknown. You've got to venture into places where you don't have all the answers, where things aren't familiar, and where the outcome is uncertain. When you stay within the bounds of what you already know, you're not growing, you're maintaining. And maintaining is not enough if you want to reach your full potential. Success isn't about staying where it's easy. It's about challenging yourself to go where it's uncomfortable, where there's uncertainty, and where you have to figure things out as you go. The more you push yourself into unfamiliar territory, the more you expose yourself to new opportunities, new experiences, and new ways of thinking. Think about it. The greatest breakthroughs never happen by following the same old path. Every person who's achieved great things has had to step into the unknown at some point. They had to take risks, face fears, and do things that felt uncomfortable. Success demands that you take that leap, that you go where others aren't willing to go. It's in those unfamiliar places that you'll find your true potential. You won't find it in the places that are safe, easy, or predictable. You'll find it where you're forced to grow, to adapt, and to challenge yourself. The unknown is where your growth is. The moment you're willing to go into new territory, to try new things, to put yourself in situations that stretch your capabilities, you unlock new possibilities. It's easy to settle into patterns of comfort, to stick with what you know because it feels secure. But security doesn't lead to success. It leads to stagnation. And stagnation leads to frustration because you know you're capable of more, but you're too comfortable to go after it. Success requires discomfort. It requires that you get used to uncertainty, that you embrace the idea that the road ahead may not always be clear, but you're willing to take the journey anyway. You won't have all the answers at the start, but that's part of the process. The more you step into unfamiliar territory, the more you'll learn, adapt, and grow. And with that growth comes success. Every time you challenge yourself to go beyond what you know, to try something new, to push into unknown areas, you're setting yourself up for success. Yes, it might be scary. Yes, it might be uncomfortable. But it's that very discomfort that will shape you into the person who can achieve the things you're dreaming about. The person you're meant to become can only be found outside the comfort zone, in the places where fear and uncertainty exist. Remember, success is not found by doing what you've always done, by staying where it's familiar and safe. Success lies where you push yourself beyond what you know, where you challenge yourself to take on new challenges, new risks, and new opportunities. That's where the magic happens. That's where you discover the strength, resilience, and courage that will propel you forward. So don't be afraid to step into the unknown. Don't be afraid to leave behind the familiar and venture into unfamiliar territory. It's in those moments of discomfort and uncertainty that you'll find the success you're truly looking for. The more you embrace the unknown, the more you embrace success. Unfamiliar is where greatness begins.